Good evening, my fellow Americans. This is the 28th of August edition of A Quiet Rage. It's been a couple weeks since I've done a full episode, so there's plenty I could talk about. But there's one thing specifically that I will talk about. Let's establish my bona fides real quick. Here's a picture of me re-enlisting on the USS Arizona Memorial. That's the USS Missouri, the battleship Missouri in the background. Here's a picture of me re-enlisting in the captain's cabin on board the USS Constitution in Boston Harbor. And here's a picture of me at my final re-enlistment at the Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C., in the Tidewater Basin of D.C. Just so we're clear, I have served this country. These are the flag patches that I wore on my shoulders. The American flag and the Gadsden flag. I have worn the flag of our country in service. Here is something that's very near and dear to my heart, and if you want to get persnickety at me about the folding of the flag and the star placement, well, don't, because I didn't fold that flag. Soldiers of the United States Army folded that flag for me. That flag was a Christmas present to me in 2008. Someone who, for whom I cared very much, was serving in the United States Army and was stationed in Iraq and sent me this. Department of the Navy, Theater Aviation Maintenance Program, LSA Anaconda, Balad Air Force Base, Iraq. The flag of the United States of America. This is to certify that the accompanying American flag was flown in the face of the terrorist enemy by the officers, NCOs, and soldiers of the Theater Aviation Maintenance Program, Iraq, over LSA Anaconda, Balad Air Force Base, Iraq, while serving Operation Iraqi Freedom, 27th November 2008, in honor of myself. Signed, Alan B. Wilcoxon, Colonel, Avtamp, Iraq Chief. That flag means a great deal to me. And by the way, I forgot to mention, in that picture from the tidal basin from at the Jefferson Memorial re-enlistment, this is the book upon which my left hand is resting. The Constitution of the United States of America and Selected Writings of the Founding Fathers. And as you can see, I am slowly reading the actual book. It's fascinating reading. I highly recommend. I mean, it's a beautiful book, for one thing. And it has writings from all of these people. It is, of course, the English language, but it's over 250 years old, so some of the phrasing is archaic, some of the language is difficult, and it takes a little time. It's interesting, but it's not pleasurable reading. It's not reading for fun. It's reading to learn. So I'm moving through it slowly, but I am moving through it. And this is a Zippo lighter that I've had since my first boat. It's got the seal of the ship on it. It's empty, of course. Now, if you saw the title of this video and you came here just to be pissed off, or are you gonna try and say to me that I just made that title just to get clicks and just to get people to come in here and be pissed off? In the words of the fictional Marine Colonel Nathan R. Jessup in A Few Good Men, you're goddamn right I did. But please, stay all the way to the end, because I don't want you commenting stuff about things that I'm going to cover anyway. Okay? If you're going to be a keyboard warrior, at least try and cover some ground that I don't actually cover in this video, so that you don't look like an idiot. Now, the one thing that I want to talk about today is something that happened 3 days ago, August 25th, 2025. President Trump, our president, the president of these United States, sat in the Oval Office, that gaudy gold filigree covered Oval Office of his, and signed an executive order prosecuting burning of the American flag, is the title of the executive order. I've got it up here on my screen. So if you watch the video of the signing, it's clear that this dumb motherfucker doesn't even know what's in this executive order, because he said after signing it that anybody that burns a flag is going to get a year in jail. Well, I've read this thing a couple of times now. The word year does appear. Jail, prison, that 1 year sentence, those words don't appear. So he doesn't actually really fully know what's in his executive order, which it's not that long, honestly. And look, here's the thing, okay? Why do I want to talk about the flag burning executive order? It's because this executive order is a distraction. He's trying to distract you from any number of things. He's trying to distract you from the fact that his name is in the Epstein files numerous times. He's trying to distract you from the fact that he is wildly, like, his administration is wildly unpopular, that his approval rating just keeps going down. He's trying to distract you from the fact that the other day, after he tried to fire, I'm not sure what the how that all ended, but he tried to fire one of the governors of that sits on the Federal Reserve Board. She, I know, was not leaving voluntarily. She said he doesn't have the authority to do this. He just keeps firing black people, black women in particular, which is weird. Except it's not, because he's a racist piece of shit and a sexist and a homophobe. Anyway, you know all the bad things he is anyway. So he wants to distract you from that. After he did that the dollar tanked internationally. He's trying to distract you from the fact that the economy is not doing, the gas prices are not going down, the grocery prices are not going down, that his tariffs, his taxes on you and me are, well, just that, taxes on you and me. That he's trying to distract you from the fact that numerous European countries, it's like, I think it's 14 or 15 countries now, are no longer delivering mail. They've temporarily ceased delivering mail and packages to the United States because of the tariffs. He's trying to distract you from that, probably. any number of things. He's trying to distract you. How dare I say such a thing? Well, because this is not gonna. It's stupid. It's useless. This executive order. It is red meat to far-right conservatives who probably don't actually know that there is already something called the flag code. And I'm going to link the executive order and this page from the American Legion that has the entirety of the flag code on it, which, by the way, I thought was interesting. Right here at the top, when you're looking at the flag code on this American Legion website, the flag code, which, by the way, to quote another fictional naval officer, Captain Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean, is mostly, we figure, guidelines. There's no actual law in the flag code. This is, for example, it says frequently, let's see, should be rendered by standing at attention. May do this, should do this. It doesn't ever say shall. No one shall do anything according to the flag code. But the interesting thing that I found is our country was almost 150 years old in 1923 when the National Flag Conference was convened in Washington, D.C. to establish this code. So, yeah, it's 100 years old, this flag code. But it's not something that was set down by the Founding Fathers. The Continental Congress, our Founding Fathers had nothing to do with establishing this flag code. I'm sure they wouldn't object to most things that are in it, but I'm just saying, like, I like the flag code. It's got some good stuff in it. I'm glad we have it. It codifies how we should display and behave and etc. so that it is, if you want to display the flag, if you want to do it properly, it gives you a standardized way to do that. And it's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with the flag code. But why I say that this flag burning executive order is just a bullshit distraction from any of the stupid things that the Trump administration has done, is doing, and or plans to do, and the fact that he's in the Epstein files. We really should just call them the Trump files at this point. But there's a whole section. So it talks about the Pledge of Allegiance, display of the flag by civilians, time and occasions for displaying, position and manner of display, like, you know, if you're going to hang it on a wall, if you're doing two flags crossed, how to march with a flag, how to march with a series of flags. If you've got, you know, the flags of the U.S. Armed Forces, how that should be done. If you're going to put flags on a vehicle, if using a flag in a ceremony, flying the flag half-staff as a sign of respect, and it has a whole section on respect for the flag. And again, the wording is important. No disrespect should be shown to the flag of the United States of America. The flag should never be displayed with the Union down, except as a signal of dire distress in instances of extreme danger to life or property. I don't like seeing an upside-down American flag, even flown by my leftist friends. Is our country in a dire situation? Yes. Yes, it is. The Trump administration is a direct threat to democracy in this country. But flying the flag upside down is meant to draw attention to an immediate situation, a vessel that is in danger, a fort, a fortification, a base. You know, you're taking incoming fire when you're flying the flag upside down. I don't like seeing anyone fly the flag upside down. It bugs me. But again, this is a should. Should never be flown upside down unless in cases of extreme danger. The flag should never touch anything beneath it, such as the ground, the floor, water, or merchandise. So, this flag on the bottom of my koozie, that's in violation of the flag code because it gets set on the ground. I mean, it's dirty. I wish the twins hadn't done that, put a flag down there. Well, the twins didn't do it, you know, Windcraft, the manufacturer did. But anyway. Flag should never be used as wearing apparel, bedding, or drapery. It should never be festooned, drawn back, nor up in folds, but always allowed to fall free. The flag should never be fastened, displayed, used, or stored in such a manner as to permit it to be easily torn, soiled, or damaged in any way. So all those douchebags with their big diesel trucks that have the flag, that, you know, they got the giant diesel stack so they can roll coal because, you know, they have, sorry to say it, they have small penises, so they have to compensate. And they've got a flag right behind the exhaust so that it's slowly turning black from the exhaust. Or the flag is so long that it's hanging off the back of the truck, and it's so long that it drags on the ground when the truck is stopped. Or they're flying a flag for so long that it's become tattered, and they just keep flying it. That's a violation of the flag code. Let's see, what else? The flag should never have placed upon it, nor on any part of it, nor attached to it any mark, insignia, letter, word, figure, design, picture, or drawing of any nature. So, any of those flags that you see at MAGA rallies that have words, even if it's "We the People," but especially if it's fucking Trump's name right across the stars and stripes, that's a violation of the flag code. Flag should never be used for advertising purposes. It should not be embroidered on such articles as cushions or handkerchiefs and the like, printed or otherwise impressed on paper, napkin, or boxes, or anything that is designed for temporary use and discard. So, those American flag napkins at your 4th of July picnic, those are violations of the flag code. Those little flags that we hand out at parades for people to wave that are printed on cheap plastic in China that are just going to get, you know, that are left strewn about on the parade route or thrown into garbage cans after the parade, that's a violation of the flag code. Why am I going through all of this? Why into this detail? Why am I doing this? Because I'm telling you, I'm showing you that this executive order that our president has signed has nothing to do with actually respecting the flag. There's wording in the executive order about fighting words and about incitement to a riot. So, if at the end of this video, just to be a dick, I take a flag that I own for which I have a certificate that says that it's mine, if I take it outside and I burn it in my own yard where no one can see, but I videotape it and I put it at the end of this episode, and people see that and riot on because of it, people try and find me and cause damage to my property, that's my fault. I incited them to that riot, and I'm going to go to jail. That's my fault. You see how fucking stupid that is? It's my flag. I own it. Now, obviously, if you steal someone else's flag and you burn it, that's theft. That's destruction of property. And you should absolutely be prosecuted for that. But I shouldn't, there is no way that I, or anyone, burning a flag that they own should suffer any consequences. Again, this is a distraction. This executive order is a distraction. If the Trump administration, Trump himself, actually truly gave a fuck about respect for the flag, there's the flag code. You could simply enforce the code. You could ask Congress to make the flag code actual law. You could remove shall or should and may with shall and will, and make it a law. I don't recommend doing that. We don't need to do that, because burning a flag it's free speech, right? You don't have to stand for the national anthem. You don't. You don't have to. You should, but you don't have to. It's your choice. It's freedom of speech. You don't have to say the national anthem. You don't have to say, or you don't have to sing the national anthem. You don't have to say the Pledge of Allegiance, which I could do a whole video on the Pledge of Allegiance, and I may yet. He's doing this as a distraction. He's doing it to try and appease the base, you far-right Republicans, you fucking idiots who voted for him, who think that he's actually saved by God and God's gift to this country, despite all evidence to the contrary. If he truly cared about respect for the flag, then there would have been some mention of the flag code in this executive order, but there's not. So it's pandering. It's red meat for his base. That's all it is. Probably some people will be negatively affected by it. I believe that very day there was a veteran that burned a flag right on the street outside of the White House and was arrested. I don't know what's happened with that individual, but I think that is a thing that happened. I don't know anything further on it, but and if this guy burned a flag that he owned, who cares? I mean, look, I don't like seeing the flag burned. I don't. It bothers me. But it bothers me because, not because the flag of our country is being burned, but it bothers me because the person or people doing the burning, especially if they're Americans, are so angry, are so dissatisfied with the way our country is behaving, treating a certain group of people, Vietnam, for example. A lot of people burned flags during Vietnam. That was not to... They weren't doing it because they hated the service members, the people that were serving in Vietnam. There was a lot of anger towards them, and it was misplaced. And we've grown as a country to understand it's not the grunts on the ground with whom we should be angry, especially if they were drafted, like in Vietnam. It's Nixon, it's Kissinger that we should be angry with. If an American is burning the American flag, they are so angry about something that they feel the only way they can properly display their anger with the way their country is behaving is by burning the flag. That's what bothers me, is that our country is behaving in a way that makes people so angry that that's the only way they feel they can truly voice their displeasure. And instead of treating the illness, whatever it is that is making people angry enough to do such a thing. And by the way, it's not as though there was a rash of flag burning that I'm aware of in this country in the last 6-7 months. The protest that I went to on No King's Day, there were a lot of people waving flags. The American flag was proudly displayed all over the place. So it's not criminalizing burning the flag is not treating the illness. It's chopping off the hand. It's amputating the hand because you have a sliver in your finger. It does nothing. It is way overreacting. It does nothing to fix the issue whatsoever, and in fact creates more issues. So this is just and this executive order is another example of the Trump administration embracing and running towards authoritarianism. Speaking of which, here's a picture from, I think, yesterday of a government building in Washington, D.C. Tell me, I'm just curious, any of you MAGA that are still watching, if there are any, what does a banner like this, what does a display like this, and yeah, sure, Teddy Roosevelt's there too. I think Teddy would probably be not happy with our current president, just based on what I've read about him. Teddy Roosevelt, that is. But anyway, this picture, does it remind you of any past or current world leaders? Fictional or otherwise? Does it remind you of any literature, any and are any of the people, fictional or otherwise, that photo reminds you of, or any of them the good guys? Just curious. All right, it's time to wrap this one up. What can we do? How can we, because that's part of the purpose of this channel. It's not for me just to rant but it's also for me to try and provide a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, a little bit of motivation. What can we do? How can we affect some good change? I've been saying it almost from the start. Find your local Democratic organization, whether it be city, county, state, whatever. Maybe find a campaign that you can volunteer for. Go to meetings, get involved. And I keep saying this, but once again, it gave me something good this week. I am involved. I'm a member of my local Democratic committee, the local organization. And on Tuesday of this week, there was a town hall meeting that was, it wasn't sponsored by, but it was endorsed by the group that I'm in. And it was a bipartisan town hall discussing the proposed voting referendum that is going to be on the ballot for myself and my fellow voters in this area this fall. Specifically regarding how we vote for city council. Now, some municipalities do referendums more often than others. This is the first one that I've ever been able to vote in, but I know I've seen, just driving around and watching in my lifetime, I've seen plenty of vote yes on Prop A, vote no on Prop 26, whatever, signs that don't actually give you any information. And then when you go to the voting booth, I mean, you certainly could, Google is a thing. You could find out what these things are about, but the signs don't give you any information. Then you just say, vote no on this. And then when you go to the voting booths, whether intentionally or not, sometimes the referendum, the proposition, whatever it is on the ballot, sometimes it's quickly worded. It's Proposition A, voting whatever. So in this case, it's 10-1 voting. So maybe it would say 10-1 voting in favor, yes or no, in favor. Well, that doesn't tell you anything about, or it can sometimes these things are vaguely worded. And the point is, I went to this meeting, this town hall, in part because I wanted to make sure that I knew that I got some information on what 10-1 voting is and why I should be in favor of it. I am in favor of it because it is a better voting system than the 7-3-1. Again, I'm not going to go into it. If you want to know about it, feel free to send me a private message. I'll talk to you about it all day long. Anyway, I'm in favor of it. But a thing that was brought up that I think is very important to remember, I know I'm getting long here, there's a huge campaign, and the thing about these signs, these giant 8-by-4 foot signs that are not on private property, there's no private citizens that are displaying these vote no on 10-1 signs. And then, the signs that are up are, they're fancy. There's some good production value. And why is that? Why is all of this the case? Well, because people with money are financing this campaign to try and stop 10-1 voting. People with money told Governor Youngkin, Virginia's governor, for some reason, to veto legislation that was already passed through the state legislature to not just authorize 10-1 voting, but to keep 10-1 voting, which is the way we've been voting in Virginia Beach since 2020, for 5 years now. It's the money. There's no grassroots campaign for this in against 10-1 voting. There's a moneyed special interest push against this thing. Anyway, so that's one of the reasons I say get involved, because it gets easier to learn things like that. It gets easier to know where to learn things like that and be involved. So, and even if you don't have the time or the mental bandwidth to get involved, if there is some kind of referendum or Prop A or Prop 13 or whatever on your ballot in November, make sure that you really actually know what it's about before you go into the voting booth on election day. That's all I got for you. Flag burning is regrettable, but not that big a deal. Don't be distracted by this executive order. Trump's name is in the Epstein files, and he is wildly unpopular as a president. And he's a fucking, if not a fascist, being a fascist, other people being fascistic is not a disqualifier for him. So if you feel the same way I do, that this is all just a big distraction from what actually matters, then keep your quiet rage. Please don't burn a flag. But if you feel the need, do it in a safe manner. And if you need to dispose of a flag properly, one that's worn or damaged, talk to your local Boy Scouts. There are ways. Talk to the American Legion. Those types of organizations. There is actually a proper way to destroy and dispose of an American flag so that it is not disrespected. I actually did that as a Boy Scout. Anyway, yeah, keep your quiet rage. I know I'm fucking furious. And keep your powder dry. And I'll see you again soon. Good night, my fellow Americans.